And we have the SemiFinals of the BCDL. Here we go. We got Amin against Roger Sikes. We got Yorion Taxes, the EDH deck of white cards versus red cool cards that deal with artifacts. And with me I have Rob Wilson, continuing to be the bringer of legacy to the Columbus area.
Maker of dips, bringer of legacy.
You do make it. Very important things. But funny enough, Roger and I faced in the semifinals of a Pittsburgh event a couple weeks ago. I was on the build that Amin is playing, and I was able to take it down. But it's a speed race, is a lot of this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah.
The games that Taxes is going to lose are when Painter goes fast, because Taxes just has a lot of ways to interact with things that are permanent based at the current point in time without it's compiled.
So what are the cards you want to draw from the DnT side against Roger? Or what plays are you looking for?
Skyclave with Vial is very hard to lose with. And then when on the early turns, I really want the Solitude, because that's your way to not get punked out of the game, for lack of a better descriptor. You know, if they're going to go fast, you want Solitude. They did not lose the game. And right now it's looking good. We have the Vial online. Roger didn't have like the Ancient Tomb draw, so Amin's able to develop his mana and set up for a long game, where Texas is very favored in the current metagame.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Roger, are you prioritizing playing the Saga first to go search as fast as possible and just you don't care about the constructs?
I think Tax is one of the best decks at dealing with constructs, and I assume that Roger is going to be casting some powerful spells and try to go quickly, because like we've talked about this, so I don't think he's expecting this. And you can see that he like let it off, and he didn't have Ancient Tomb, so he knew he wasn't going to be making the constructs. You see him working towards filtering both in the Star and the main Manic Channeler. He's looking to combo here and now. This is my impression of it, at least.
Yeah, so Roger plays the Channeler, passes the turn, we'll go up to 2 counters on the Vial. And Amin's hand looks like a multitude of lands. So what do you think about this play here, Field of Ruining the Urza Saga?
Great play. I think taking off the tutor is very, very good. And your instant speed things are either Swords to Plowshares or Solitude, both of which you only need 1 or 0 mana. So with your Vial progressing your game, this seems like a pretty scripted turn from the Texas side of things to me. But he is sitting with at least 2 basic planes in his hand. So probably going to be putting Yorion to hand next turn unless we start drawing some recruiters.
Yeah, Amin seems to be flooding out here.
So we got these 2 cards. What do we got? We got Ancient Tomb and LED. I am always terrified whenever Roger has the LED. It's just very threatening, and when he combines it with like double grindstone, it's really hard to be able to leverage your spells at the right means. At least that's always in my opinion. I don't know how it lines up from your perspective when you play against this sort of deck.
Yeah, Roger will prioritize the Ancient Tomb.
Oh, that's interesting.
And
I really would have thought the LED, especially with his hand that's made up of a bunch of hands.
Yeah, we see quite a few soul lands, so he'll take the damage here to draw, presumably make a red.
You never know. He could be spicing it up, but I assume he has red one floating right now.
I see. It looks like an Ancient Tomb. Okay.
He's got a Engineer
in hand. He plays the Engineer. Trigger.
So, what do we think we're getting? I think we're getting Painter, because he doesn't have. I don't think he had a Welder in hand, so I assume we're just going on a stable Painter route. But he's looking at the Needle for Vial. I think that makes sense if he's gearing up for a long game. But he's going to go with the Painter. Okay.
Yeah. In the long game, do you think DnT is favored?
100%. I think Yorion makes your long games so much better. The ability to recoup your ETBFX, and most of your ETBFX are just very good in this sort of match. So we got the Grindstone.
Yeah.
So there is threat of lethal on board next turn. So Amin needs to find some solutions. And that can be in any removal spell, so I'm not super worried. But this Batter Skull lands in hand are not what we're looking for.
Yeah, so Amin will go ahead and...
So we're going to put Yorion to hand to pair with our Solitude. It's not the best place, but it's going to have to be what we do.
And it looks like Roger has the combo in hand. It looks like he has the Painter in hand as well.
Well, he just needs an artifact. He can...
Well, he's got a Painter in hand.
Oh, okay. So.
And a Mountain, so he could presumably just mill him out right there. Yeah. I mean, Roger's got to be in with seeing Vial on 3, anticipating Skyclave Apparition.
Okay, so the second Grindstone is particularly spooky to me. I think he takes Grindstone, plays the... Oh, okay, I'm so off. I would have thought Grindstone played the Ancient...
That's your artifact to sack if you need it.
Yeah.
So I think he'll just go for the Painter here. Mm-hmm. And I think he just makes Amin have it. So he'll pass the turn, go up to 3. Yeah, giving him the opportunity to draw, I think was a bad move.
Well, I think Roger has said that Amin is broadcasting that he has Solitude in hand, because that's why he put the Yorion in hand rather than casting any spell. And what Roger can do here is he can bring back the other Painter, and then Amin needs 2 solutions, which he does not have.
No. Looks like a Stoneforge Mystic, Yorion, Batterskull, and the Solitude in hand, and a Plains. Yeah.
He could really be using a Recruiter right now. Recruiter would have been the best draw. I think Roger's going to bring back his Painter here. He's not going to. He's going to do it in instant speed then, I guess. He's going to do the activate. We'll remove the Painter and we'll bring back the other Painter from the yard.
So Roger's MTGO name is Roger Steady. So living up to that here. Just
he is the Painter master.
Time. Yeah. So we'll play a second.
Oh, he's got another? Oh no. So this would even beat the second removal spell. This would require a third removal spell to beat this. So yeah. Roger's got this. Amin doesn't even have draws that get him live. Because you would need Solitude, white card, Skyclave Apparition right now. Or like Wisp. That sort of thing.
And Roger also has the Red Elemental Blast in hand. Or has the Blast in hand.
Oh, so it's just
needed. Yeah.
He's got four protection for this.
Yeah, I think he's just waiting till he feels certain and waiting for Amin to make the first move for some reason. I think he's got enough mana that he can go here. Maybe that's what he was waiting on, to have the mana for whatever Amin presents. Okay, we've chosen our color, presumably the same, maybe different.
Yeah, I assume we're just clarifying that they're both named blue.
And he'll pass the turn. And
so we're doing this in upkeep.
Yeah. Okay. So presumably with the trigger on the stack, I think is what they're indicating here.
And I think Roger definitely lets the trigger resolve, just to see if Amin wants to put it.
Yeah, if you want to go up to 4, by all means.
I mean, I guess it allows for the jailer.
Amin just realizes he's done there and just scoofs to Roger.
You'll notice Amin expertly not putting Yorion into his deck.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he puts in the council's judgment, which I think is correct. I also like the containment priest in this sort of matchup because both enabling your wisps and turning off things sneaking in from the graveyard seems good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And then from, go ahead. You had a question.
So what are we taking out for? I mean,
things to take out. I like taking out the Thalias because Roger's decks are always very creature based, and most of the time you're going to be wanting to hold up multiple spells. So if you can deploy a spell, hold up Swords of Plowshares, that's better than having the Thalia and not be able to hold it up. So you just like makes for better sequencing on yourself.
mm-hmm.
And then I would usually take out the Batterskull in this sort of match. No, you always take out the Sword of Fire and Ice, which is something I have to like make a conscious effort to remember because it does not work with Painter in play. You like start equipping and then it just falls off every time. It's very awkward. Don't do that. You gotta cut that card. So I would be cutting like the sword, the fourth Thalia, and then I'd probably cut like a mom.
Mm.
If I wanted to bring in 3 cards, but I don't think I want to bring in Cage, so I would just bring in 2.
So it looks like he cut a Plains and something else.
Interesting. I would definitely not be cutting the Plains. I like casting my spells way too much.
It looked like an orange card there. I'm assuming it's that beautiful Urza Saga Plains.
Yeah, it's got
playing
to be.
with. So
he's playing 19 of them. 19 Plains. More lands than some people play in their entire deck.
So what advice do you have for players picking up this deck, shuffling 80 cards? Because it looks like Amin's struggling there.
You got to practice. I recommend people don't use perfect cards because when I use my perfect cards, it feels like I'm playing an EDH deck. It's very obnoxious. I bring 2 deck boxes currently when I go to a tournament. It's not great.
Amin
I kind of wish
his small, tiny hands. In the
I know the hands. The plus side is you have your opponents who want to shuffle your deck, and you get to laugh a bit at them because you've been practicing and they are not ready for the 80 cards. Also, you get to make jokes all the time. That's a big plus side of playing the noodle.
Roger,
Mulligan. It looked like he had an equipment in his hand and some lands of stuff. I'm not a fan of the equipments in the matchup by and large.
Roger with very large, formidable hands, easily handling that 80 card deck.
Yeah, no fear for him.
Yeah. So Amin's draw looks pretty decent here. A couple lands will probably.
He kept in the sword.
He's kept in the sword of fire, but at least he bottoms it.
He expertly gets rid of it because you don't want that card. I'll have to tell him not to keep that card in against Painter. It does not work.
Roger will, I presume, a mountain and lead off on the engineer here. Oh, LED.
He's got the LED.
Is he passing? No, we're still debating. As a Goblin Welder. Okay.
It's got to be the Welder.
Yeah.
I can't see it, but it's either Welder or Ragavan. It didn't look like Ragavan.
And
hit him with the Scry too.
The Charming Prince here.
Yep, I agree. There was a vial in there and something else, but I think you need a land drop. So he puts that down, hoping to hit a land drop off the top. Got to play a really bad preordained 2/2.
So Roger draws a Saga. Looks like he has a Pithing Needle, a Mountain, a Magmatic Channeler.
There's an Engineer, I think, in there.
Yeah, I think it's an Engineer. So he'll play the Mountain and the Channeler. No, the Engineer.
Engineer.
Yeah.
And he's gonna presumably get Painter. It's generically what I assume they get.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's getting the Sundering
Titan.
Oh no. Oh no. Sundering Titan about to come to party.
So do you think this... Why go this route? I mean, especially given 4 Solitudes and 4 Swords. I mean, the likelihood that they have an answer is pretty good. I mean, we're sure...
I think the thought is he interpreted that Amin was missing lands.
Mm. So if we're scrying down for 2, that's a reasonable conclusion.
And also, now that we've untapped, we can protect our Sundering Titan.
Yeah. So Amin really missing land drops here. Yeah, this is not where you want to be. Roger will play the star. And
I don't know. I think he's
still debating. Are we gonna see some shenanigans here? Oh, he's got an ancient.
We're gonna get the LED.
Oh, he's gonna blow up his other land. Get the LED back.
And then we're gonna sack those 2, draw a card. So we're gonna get this. We're gonna draw a card.
So Roger just sussing out that Amin has no resources to do anything, and just gonna go to town with this Sundering Titan.
We're just on the beatdown plane.
I mean, we're at Solitude or bust if you're Amin here.
But Solitude doesn't work no. I don't think Roger needs to do it anymore. So.
Yeah, so there isn't really going to be a point at which the welders, the goblins will be tapped. Just you can see the frustration from Amin.
Yeah, sometimes the deck just doesn't want to give you lands. It's meant for you.
80 cards, that's what you sign up for.
I guess he shouldn't have boarded out that 1 planes, because that definitely made the difference.
It did decrease his odds of finding planes. And he seems to need the planes quite a bit here.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest thing about playing taxes right now is I just want to hit my land drops. I trust that I will beat most opponents if I just don't miss land drops.
So we get
and I think that's true of Amin. I think he could have gotten out of this if he could have hit land drop. Could have hit his 3rd land drop.
And it looks like he has quite a few answers in hand. I think one of the Skyclave apparitions in hand.
Yeah, if he would have hit his 3rd land drop, he could have. Wait, no. He could have never hit his 3rd land drop. He didn't have the opportunity to. Yeah, Roger just had him unblocked. It was just a very awkward hand from Amin. We'll see what happens here.
It seemed like a reasonable keep. Having 2 lands, being on 6 cards, so I certainly don't fault him for that.
Nah, I don't think this is the type of matchup that you're winning a lot at 5. It definitely has some grindy elements to it. But it is looking bad. We got Amin at 6.
We found one. Well, he's just going to scoop it up.
He wanted to show that he had found it, but... So, it's not the type of match you're for, but it's the type of match you get sometimes. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes not so much.
So we're going to re-grindstone here.
You gotta make sure he knows all these options for next time.
So what are your final thoughts on kind of DnT and seeing Roger's deck here?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So what are your final thoughts here on Roger's Painter deck and the Yorion DnT in this matchup?
Well, I think the Roger's Painter deck is sweet. Way cooler than any deck I've ever played. However, I do think that on the average, Texas is favored because that game was like a high variance game. He had Welder into Engineer, and there was no removal from Amin. If there was any removal spell there, then Amin is fine because he just removes the Welder and nothing happens. Additionally, if they don't do that thing, they just don't combo fast enough in a way that you can't interact with, that oftentimes they're going to get there. That's just been my impression of the matchup by and large. It feels very, very stable, and most of Tax's matchups at the point in time is if you're up against mostly fair decks, you just don't want to get varianced out. As long as you get to play Magic, you're in a good position. That's how I feel about like most of the format right now. It's like the Doomsday is like what I'm most terrified of. Thankfully, no one shows up to our locals at. So. Until Jesse comes to beat me up.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Doomsday even on MTGO. I think there's a couple people playing it that are doing well in challenges. So I think it's a deck that's certainly going to pick up, and people need to to expect and be ready for. So
Yeah, I think that deck is very good. Delver being such a high portion of the metagame, it definitely makes that a hard thing for Doomsday to exist, because Doomsday's biggest enemy is opposing Daze decks. So you're trying to resolve this black, 3-drop. That's a hard thing to do.
mm-hmm.
But I know a bunch of people who find it to be their worst matchup, but it's what it is.
Yeah. Amin, notably, only using one deck box for
Yeah,
his
well,
deck.
he doesn't use the heart. His deck isn't shiny like mine. He's able to fit it all.
All right, well, that concludes this round, and we'll see you in the finals.
Have a good one.